All right, I'm gonna go over things on this beautiful 97 M3, which is my favorite car. I had one, I bought a 95 M3 later model year with the bucket seats, Estoril blue, or the blue that it came in, I think it's that. I had the 10 spoke wheels on it. And I knew nothing about the car. It was in around 2003. No internet at the time, or not as much information. I kind of ran it to the ground, sold it for cheap. Years later, about 15, 12 years later, I came across this one and I bought it, and I did a lot of things myself. Obviously, there was a lot more going on with YouTube. And I ended up being like a mini DIY before all that DIY started happening. Anyway, there is a little bit of the paint here chipping, but you know, over time that's what happens. We got just a little bit of rust right here, and it's the same on the other side, and I can see it's just a little bit. Open the door so you can see what's going on here. I was planning on doing so many things with this. I might actually do a whole YouTube series on a revamp of this, but I guess something like right here. But like in there is where I see a little bit of rust. No more rust anywhere else except on the other side. Bumper and all that needs to be repainted. No, the car is in Long Island, New York. Rust right here, right there, so that paint's coming off, and then right in there, and there. That's the only rust that's in the car. And I bought the car primarily with like these wheels, this paint job, this hood. This is also the fender. It's cracking, but you know, the car's been sitting here for quite a bit, as you can see. But we're gonna do a cold start. But before we do the cold start, I do want to open up the hood and show you something really quick. This is all the things that I have listed that I've done. Okay, let's see. So right here, we have a little thing that I use for the rain, because little droplets, and I think it's from this thing. We drop it in there, but I got that covered. So we got new callbacks that I got recently. I bought that for some dude in Connecticut. It came with the M50 manifold, which I put this hose in there. I also put the M50 manifold conversion kit in there, so it has the silicone tube that cycles all around. K&N filter, clean this. I got the AFE boot here, so no more vacuums on that. I am chasing a code, which I thought after all was OEM airflow sensor, mass airflow sensor. I went through already like 2 of those. This is my 3rd one. I finally was like, you know what, I'm gonna bite the bullet and get the right one, the one that was like $380 or something like that. Spark plugs were done by a local shop around here, Long Island, New York, that is called South Bay Injectors. They cleaned them, they refurbished them, and they came back great. What else? I did do the rubber seal that you put behind this here for any oil leaks, and no more on that. Oil changes, of course, were always liquid moly with I put that ceramic coating on it. I did the past couple of oil changes I've done. I did some regular oil, ran it for 10 minutes, drained it, and then put the regular oil in, and every time, of course, it came out dark. But after I put in the real stuff, it looks good. I can show you the oil. It looks exactly the same color as the the stuff that the liquid moly. What else? Oh yeah, aftermarket headers, and then I put in two catalytic converters from Magnaflow that were for this car, bigger, more airflow, and they're in there. The exhaust, of course, is what it came with. What else can I tell you about it? Oh, here's where I think my problem is. So I bought this brand new from from the web, the valve cover, and I got rid of a couple codes that I was getting, and it seemed to all be related to a vacuum leak, which is why I went through the MAF, the seal, the M50 manifold conversion kit, the gasket there. I also changed, I forget what this is, but this goes from here to somewhere, I forget, but it's a high pressure line that you change because it breaks, and it was leaking. What else? The secondary pump still works, but after all said and done, I I thought I addressed it. And so I think the issue is that because these are plastic, and I read on the forums, these are plastic, so if they're sitting around and between different seasons, they could warp. So when I put it on, it may be warped or leaking from somewhere. But as far as like all these, like the rubbers, I changed new ones, not the bolts, but this, that, the rubber seals, the gasket, and I tightened them all the way you're supposed to. And I'm still getting 1189. So I'm thinking after I did everything needed to address those issues to get it back on the road so it passes inspection, I think that's the culprit. Or it could be also, and another future thing that I was looking to do was to buy a whole new the head. I was going to replace the head and get a refurbished one and trade it in from a dude I found online. I spoke to him, and he's got it with the vanos too. He's got it with the seals all ready to go, and of course a head gasket job would have been part of it as well. It's just I just wanted to get it on the road and drive it and just have fun with it, not really put it on track or anything like that, because that's just not my MO. So let's go ahead and cold start this bad boy, and you guys will hear it. I'm gonna put the phone down out here, put it like this, right on that awesome leaf showing you dirt all over the place. Here we go. That's the secondary fan that I installed, accelerator. I turn it off and I'm back on. Cold start. What else to tell you? I put the yellow fog lights on. It came with these, the halos. There's a little chip right there. But if I don't sell this car, I am gonna do a whole series like all these other YouTubers that make these cool videos from like before and after, during, and because this is my favorite car so far. I mean, sure, I like other ones, mainly BMW. Big fan of the X5. Of course, the M6 S85, but the X5M, the 2014 to 2018, that model. What's that? I forget the chassis, but anyway, that's another one. It's like I really like the body lines on that. But this one, the E92 M3, the S85. Of course, mainly the M6. M5 is awesome, but I'm particular to coupes, man. If it's gonna be a fast car, it's got to be a coupe for me. You know, I guess that's just me. And that's it. That's a cold start. I haven't started this in I think 2 weeks. I'll give it a little bit before putting gas on it, because I don't want to do that. Oh, I also changed this piece, and there's another solenoid back there that gets hooked onto right there. That solenoid. Yeah, that's it. Changed that one as well. I also had an issue with the canister. One of the lines was loose, and I was getting those codes as well, which are part of like my whole troubleshooting. Tighten them up, good to go. Secondary fan that sometimes I turn off so that this thing gets hot, quicker, and then I turn it on so it keeps temperature. Of course, BMW blue in there always. But listen, guys, this is 2 weeks. The VIN number and the Carfax. Oh man, there's a story about that I'm gonna be honest. You asked me about it, and I'll tell you something I didn't know. I bought the car blind without the Carfax because the guy started for me. Funny enough, the guy was living in Connecticut, needed to get rid of it, and his name was Caesar too, which was kind of strange because I wasn't looking to buy an M3. I actually wasn't even in the market to look for a car. I just always browse Craigslist and looking what's out there. And when I saw this local to me, I was like, oh man, I'm gonna go take a look at it, because it's a 97 M3. Looked at it, and you know what, I bought it, and I was, like I said, not in the market to buy it at all. Now I own it. Bought it with 195. The car now has 214. The car has 214. So from 2014 till now, December 2022, I've put on 14,000 miles. After correcting everything, the exhaust now smells like just regular exhaust. It used to smell like just bad. Like, I mean, like burning oil. It just smelled like terrible exhaust, kind of like a car without carburetor. It just smelled bad, and for the longest time I just thought that's how it was, but no, it had to do with air filter, mass air sans airflow, basically the whole everything, because I had catalytic converter on there, like 2 new ones, and oxygen sensors, yeah, also new oxygen sensors, yep. But that whole smell, I just never knew what it was until, of course, I started going after this issue with these codes that I was getting, which were primarily a vacuum leak. But as you can see, car is, I don't know. I bought the car like that, with sounding just like that, and before the headers too. Though it didn't have a header, it had just the regular pipes, and you know, it just has more of a scream sound. Those that know. And when I listened to it and drove it, I was like, wow, this car sounds. And that's the reason why I bought it. Why am I getting rid of it? I don't need a car. It just so happens that things happen in life where I don't need a car anymore. I take the train to work nowadays, so it's been sitting around for about a year. You know, once the pandemic hit and all that's kind of when it all started, and it started to go down. But I kind of want to give it, just like anybody that loves these cars and wants to sell it, I want to give it up to the right guys so they know what they're doing. Another issue that I forgot to address, in the rear strut, the strut mount, I've got a plate on there that's supposed to it's for reinforcement, and it's done that way because there's a tear in the mount. Can you see it? Where is it? Oh, it's right there. Anyway, so I got one of those aftermarket. Well, I put it underneath. That's right. Oh no, it's not in. It's on this side. Don't fall on the wire there. Jeez. Bring it down so I can take this thing. Oh, that no. Right, so this, like this. There it is. I've got that metal plate on there. Yeah, it's one of those that you get that's supposed to be a part of a weld, but I put it on there because I saw a tear, so I'm like, oh, before that gets worse, and before I spend more time and money doing the welding and buying that whole welding thing that has to replace that whole thing, before doing all that, I was like, you know, let me just do that, which was all part of the project. Things to be done on this car to be sound. Of course, interior redone, kind of like a restoration paint. The suspension is Bilstein. I did do the lollipops on there. I also did the another big issue that we know with these cars is the elbow joints. I saw in a forum that you could use the E30 elbow joints that connect to the control arm. Then you can pop them out and put the other ones in, and they were right. I did them. So they've got new control arm bolt joints on both of them. I had it done in Connecticut.